What's going on, y'all? What's up? He is the Architect 1111, and today's word is the secret of getting ahead. What's the secret of getting ahead? The secret of getting ahead is getting started. So I got three quick points that I'm going to share with you all, but let's go to the Word of God, and we go to the book of Zechariah, chapter 4, verse 10, and it reads, "Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin." Again, Zechariah chapter 4, verse 10. "Do not despise small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin." So, the secret of success is getting started. You have to get started. There isn't a way that you are going to build a great foundation and a relationship with God through thin air. It's going to happen by intentionality. It's going to happen by a contrite heart. And then it's going to happen by persisting daily. And once you come to God and you say, you know what, I want to, serve you and surrender my life to you. Spoiler alert, there's going to be beautiful moments. There are a lot of them, but there's also going to be a constant resistance, because wherever there's light, darkness is. Wherever is the Spirit of the Lord is a spirit, and there's freedom. So you're going to be free, but the enemy is going to want to bring you back in bondage. The enemy is going to throw your old past self at you. People are going to test you. There are people who don't want to live in the light. There are people who don't want to turn the proverbial cheek and say, you know what, I'm turning this way because I know this is what I need to do, and I'm not gonna vibrate in my flesh. I'm gonna vibrate in the spirit. There are people who want to vibrate in their flesh, and we see it every day, because if you're being honest, you've been that person. I know I have. And if you can't be honest, then you need to get to the point to where you can be, and that's where God will meet you. But I say that to say the secret of getting ahead is getting started. And the first thing that you can do with getting started is start with courage. Okay? Start with courage. When Joshua was given the leadership role to take the children of Israel into the land flowing of milk and honey, Joshua was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. But what did the angel of the Lord say? Joshua 1 verse 5, "No man shall be able to stand before you all the days that you live. As I was with Moses, I shall be with you. I will never forsake you. I will never leave you." And then it follows in Joshua 1:9, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or be dismayed, for I, the Lord God, am with you wherever you go." So you have to start with the courage. Now, whatever that means to you, only you know. But I just want to let you know that you have to start with the courage. So if that means, okay, I'm trying to start on this weight diet, I don't want to look, foolish going to the gym, start with the courage of saying, okay, I'm just gonna walk around my neighborhood. Maybe you haven't built up the courage to go to a gym yet. Maybe you haven't built up the courage to put on those gym clothes that you know you're eventually going to get in. But not only visualize yourself there, but start somewhere. And start with saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to walk around the apartment. I'm going to walk around my neighborhood. And I may not be able to do it in the daytime. I may just do it in the nighttime until you get comfortable. And I'm just using that as an example. There's so many more. But start small, okay? Start small, because the courage that you use to start small is going to propel you to move forward if you have the courage to continue. Start with courage to start, but allow that courage to actually grow within you, which will allow you to move forward and persist past the days where it feels like, well, nothing is happening. No, things are happening, but it's just going to take time to see the results, okay? The secret of getting ahead again is getting started. So the first point is start with courage. And it's the same way with our relationship with God. You may look at it and be like, man, this person has such a big faith. I don't know if my faith could ever get that big. How do you think that person's faith got that big? It didn't happen by osmosis. They didn't just wish it. No, they actually started and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to read my word. I'm going to start to pray. I'm going to cry out and ask God to meet me exactly where I am. I'm not going to say, God, meet me here and you're not there, because God isn't going to come someplace where you're not, and he's not going to bless somebody that isn't where they are and isn't representing them true authentic self. So be who you are, even where you are at, even if you're still in sin, whatever that sin is. It says in Romans 5:8, but God demonstrated his love toward us while we were yet still sinners. Christ died for us. So have the courage to cry out. If you're in that addiction, if you're in that relationship, if you're in whatever it is that you know isn't the will of God for your life, but you're still struggling, cry out. Have the courage to cry out, and he will meet you where you are. He doesn't want to see any man perish. That's why he is slow to anger. Okay? And his compassion and his grace is renewed every morning. But we can't have that if we aren't courageous. So start with courage. The second thing is show up with intention to learn daily, having a humble spirit, okay? Proverbs 16, verse 18. Pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. So once you start to show up with courage and you're doing these things with the intent, show up with the intent to learn daily. Just because you got a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, maybe a couple of years under your belt of doing something doesn't mean that you've arrived. And that's the part of this spiritual journey that I'm learning. I will never arrive until I am in heaven. And then I'm going to not only be judged, but I'll be ready for whatever part of the journey that he has me on. This isn't it. Our bodies may perish, our bodies are going to perish because these are just the shell that's housing the spirit within us. But everything that we learn here, we're going to have to take and we're going to implement in heaven and use for his glory. So don't feel that you've arrived. Always have a spirit of humility. Always have a spirit and a posture of I want to learn. Now be careful the tutelage and the people that you're under, because they can be a hindrance to you and what you're learning, how you're learning, if you're progressing or if you're regressing. And that's up for you to discern and speak with God, and he will reveal it to you. But if you're moving forward with humility, you're moving forward with a posture of not just gratitude, but of I want to continually grow, you will. But if you're moving forward with the spirit of pride, of arrogance, and, oh, I know it all and all of this, be careful, because you'll fall. And I've been there. On this spiritual journey of sanctification, which is not only being set apart for his glory, but continuing to get better day by day, moving further away from the person we used to be and moving closer incrementally to the person we want to be, which is called progression. It takes time. So show up with the intention to learn daily. That's number 2. 3, consistency in small things will lead to even better production and results. If you show up and you say, you know what, I'm gonna carve out during this 7-day week, 4 times a week, whatever that is to you. And this is an example, 4 times a week that I not only pray, but that I do my devotion. And after I do my devotion, those days, on those 4 days, I do some sort of strength training, some sort of exercise. I do some sort of fasting. I do some sort of volunteering, whatever it is. The consistency that you show in that, it's going to produce fruit. And that fruit isn't just going to automatically harvest, it's going to harvest in the season that it's supposed to. So don't just think, oh, because you read the Bible one time, oh, you're going to be this believer that has extraordinary faith. No, that faith muscle has to be stretched. It's going to be tested, and then it's going to bear fruit. I heard somewhere, faith untried and untested can't be trusted. You're not going to trust a trainer who isn't certified. You're not going to trust somebody to watch your kids who hasn't been verified and has the proper credentials. You're not going to trust a banker who doesn't show and exude acumen that they know what they're doing. You're not going to just go to any old mechanic to work on your car. No, you're going to go to somebody that's tried, trusted, and true. And it's the same thing with our faith. The only way that our faith is going to be tried, trusted, and true is by being consistent. And when those things align with the consistency, when the vicissitudes of life, when the trials of life, when the circumstances of life happen, we will be able to remain standing and we'll be able to move forward, not just in grace, not just in mercy, but in power and the authority that God has given us. And that only comes through consistency in the small things. For my people out there that, are on the journey of continuing to grow, you can only continue to grow by how much you continually show up. So if you show up only when it feels good, you're not going to grow, because there are days where you're not going to want to show up. And those are the days that are the days where you'll see more growth, in my opinion, because you're doing it when it hurts. You're doing it when you're not necessarily all there. You're doing it when it feels like it's in vain, but you're still doing it. You're still showing up. You're still reading. You're still choosing to say a kind word when somebody is being evil intentionally to you. You're choosing to, I'm not going to say nothing even if I know I can, because I'm going to leave it up to God. You know what? This isn't the circumstance and the situation that I want to be a part of, but for this season, this is where I'm at. Whatever it's teaching me, I'm going to choose to glean whatever I can from it, so that when I get into another season to where it's something that I want, I can apply the season that was discomforting to the season of that I want, and I'll be able to not only steward it better, but I'll be able to use those nuggets of pain, those nuggets of uncomfortability to help somebody in this season where I'm at, where they may be where I was and I'm not there, but because I'm in a new place, I can give them something to where I was at. Consistency in the small things will lead to even better production and results. So let's recap. Start with courage, number 1. 2, show up with intention to learn daily, i.e. have humility. And 3, consistency in the small things will lead to even better production and results. Again, what's the secret of success? The secret of success is getting ahead, is getting started. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. That's the secret of success. The secret of success is getting started. So you have to get started. Start somewhere. I don't care how much you do, but start somewhere. And it's not about the quantity, but the quality. I don't care if you just read one verse out of the Bible. I don't care if you just do one push-up. I don't care if you only have, this many hours at work. You're starting somewhere. And he who is faithful over little, God will make him a ruler over a lot. So where you start isn't necessarily where you're going to finish unless you choose not to progress. And that's on you. You got to deal with that. But if you're choosing to progress by doing and showing and continuously proving to yourself, not to anybody else, but to yourself, that you want to be successful, you want to grow in your relationship with God, you want to have a better understanding fundamentally, not only of who you are, but whose you are and what you're possible and what you're capable of doing, which is all things through Christ who is in you, you will not mind showing up and starting small, because small things turn into big things over time. Okay? The secret of getting ahead is getting started. So get started today, right now. You, him, her. Get started. He is the architect. 1111. I love y'all.